While we're waiting for everyone to arrive, let's just go ahead and take some deep breaths and notice where you are right now. You can even keep your eyes open or closed, whatever feels best for you. Take some deep breaths. And now we invite the power symbol, the mental emotional symbol. It's always notable to me when we're doing this and catches a particular place in your body, my throat. So again, as people are arriving, now breathe deeply and receive the distance symbol. Just receive the energy of it. Let me turn my ringer off. And now think of the other symbols that you are connected with, and maybe even you haven't been attuned to them, but you already can feel their energy and the Reiki energy in its totality. And I'm specifically keeping my eyes open and staying present with the experience of receiving Reiki on the fly, just through my thought and breath. And noticing the busyness around me with my eyes open doing this. Just got a text. Oh, and my text is actually now, I hit the microphone, and so now it's recording everything I say. So allowing yourself to feel Reiki right now, in this moment, on the fly. Notice it shifting in your mind. Notice the shift in your heart. And notice the shift in your gut. Notice the earth underneath you. Even if you are 30 feet in the air, the earth is always still underneath you. Right where you are. I meant 30 stories in the air. Notice the environment around you and above you, and just kind of feel the energy. Now bring your awareness to right now, and you can open your eyes if they're closed. Just breathe in and receive, and even say to yourself, I receive Reiki. So we talk a lot about Reiki on the fly in this group. And And it's interesting to me that that's how it showed up right here, right now. Because these are always, we know like today we're going to talk about decision fatigue. We've been talking about that all month and listening before that and how they all tie together. But Reiki on the fly, when you can really know that it will assist you in a moment's breath through the thought and can bring a shift into your situation, your decision making, your listening, your fun, your ideas or innovations or manifestations. Reiki on the fly is, for me, it's an all day, every day availability and access. So remembering Reiki is life force energy. You are life force energy. When you just simply receive it, it's activating it within you. It's you claiming, it's you intending, stating to you that you are inviting this life force energy. And in very practical ways, and what we've been talking about so much is even going more in depth with is mind management and what are the resources and tools you have for that? And how does Reiki work to help you with that every day in your everyday life? So Reiki on the fly is such a useful tool. And I have an article, we have an article on our website, ReikiLifestyle.com. And if you go under Reiki Library, all the articles are written there from 2005. So this particular article, Reiki on the Fly, I learned this, and I know I talk about it a lot, so a lot of you have already heard this story, but I learned this in caregiving for my mother. And I went from living on the farm where I had lots of time to be in meditation, deep Reiki states, to moving and selling the farm, moving in to take care of my mom in a, not critical condition, but serious condition. And it went from, I had to be able to use Reiki to help me on the fly. And so it taught me how to do that because I really didn't know to the degree that it actually worked. And then the way I learned about it, because I was so busy from morning till late at night, that I would have had to get up even an hour earlier and have no sleep in order to take hours doing Reiki or meditation. And so it taught me. In the middle of it all, just say yes. And today the final words were, I receive Reiki. And let it do its thing. Sometimes, as we are talking about the topic of decision fatigue today, we can be so overwhelmed by decisions to make, or maybe even sometimes underwhelmed by not very many decisions to make. And that can be also a concern. So decision fatigue is a very real term. It's like one you can research. You can Google it, you can chat GPT it, ask about decision fatigue. And then probably in yourself, you already know what that means for you. Like it doesn't need, as soon as I heard that term, and that was based on an article that I wrote about decision using Reiki for decision making, again on in our Reiki library. As soon as I heard the decision fatigue, I was like, oh, God, that explains it. Oh, well, then, because Reiki will help you turn to solutions. When you activate it and just say yes to receive it, the nature of it is solution oriented. So it immediately shifted me into the awareness that I could use Reiki to help with the decision fatigue and to understand it better and to understand how does Reiki help with decision fatigue. Step one, just Reiki on the fly, all the way to if you have lengths of time, automatic writing can really help with it. Of course, meditation, self Reiki can help with it. Any of the symbols work for it. The power symbol is going to, release those blocks, intrusions, things in your way. Can help with letting go of old tapes that you might have, previous experiences that affect your decision making. The mental emotional symbol, that symbol, of course, is all about mind management, communication, intuition, authentic intellect. It's going to take you to clarity of mind. And it also activates your inner knowing, gut level, heart level, head level. We're going to talk more about that too. And I think that's next week. We talk more about that. So the decision or the mental emotional symbol is highly effective when you are in decision fatigue, both to heal it, release the things that are exacerbating it or making it harder, increasing your ability to think more clearly, increasing and benefiting you with your activating your intuition, your imagination, going deeper into your inner knowing, your instincts. Instincts need to be in the mix. Decision making. And then each of the master symbols, many of you have a variety of master symbols, from the Usui master symbol to the Holy Fire master symbol, some of the Tibetan symbols, other lineage master symbols. So invite them, and you can invite them on the fly, and you can invite them for a length of time. For me, the Usui master symbol, DKM, it's that root chakra and upper chakras really aligning, like they work together. It brings them into clarity, connects with the earth, connects with the heavens, or connects with consciousness, pure consciousness. And it's all one alignment and column. I see it as a column of light. It also really activates the earth energies in the awareness. Its literal translation is treasure house of the great beaming light. Here's the treasure house of your great beaming light is your body. There's also the treasure house of the great beaming light in the external awareness of it, its existence, and bringing those two together. And the Holy Fire Master symbol, I would say, in its role in healing decision fatigue and clarity of mind, is that it really brings your divine self and human self together into oneness and heals that separation where, you can feel like, well, I'm in touch with my divine self and I'm in touch with my human self, but at the same time, so they're merged, they're unified. There's no separation between them. And what that means. And then the animal Reiki symbol, tree of life. That's like carries with it the ancient wisdoms of the earth, of the ancients, from the stones to the people, to the waters, to the trees, the wisdom within you, your ancient wisdom, your connection, stability with the earth, reaching into the heavens, receiving from the beyond, whatever you call it and however you perceive it, that wisdom that's there. And how all of those symbols that I just named all contribute to clarity with decision making. And when we go into the Karuna symbols, really connecting you to the depth of your authentic self. And so rather than going through each of them individually, I want to talk a little bit more about the decision fatigue, but they want me to talk about them specifically, so I'm going to. And in the Karuna symbols, we can actually say their names out loud. So I'm going to go ahead and use their names. And I always think of Zonar and Halu together. So Zonar is a spiritual anesthetic at a cellular level. So in places where you might need to heal because of decision fatigue or the cause of your decision fatigue. Sometimes what decision fatigue can make you feel incapacitated, can cause procrastination, it can cause stress, and sometimes just the sheer volume of decisions can be overwhelming, can be complex in the idea of priorities. And Halu and Zonar, the reason I think of them together is they're very cellular. So they're waking up your cellular memories of clarity of mind, clarity of thought, consciousness that are cellular within you, cellular knowledge. So it heals at a cellular level and it reveals at a cellular knowledge level. And then hearth, just compassion and clarity of compassion, because sometimes these decisions are around compassion, particularly if they're in a relationship situation. What does that mean? What's the clarity of decision making in a relationship situation? Rama to me is that it just places you, it brings you into your body, into the now, and very deeply connected. To me, it's very it's very material, like material world. It's physical world. It's like right here, right now. I can feel my body. I'm in my room. I'm all around. And so it's very much that. And then Nosa is your authentic intellect. So take the mental emotional symbol to the next octave and going up higher into what's your authentic intellect from? What does your higher consciousness even mean? What's the truth of your inner knowing, your inner truth, your inner authority? And then Yava going into the personal power, your connection with spirit. And Shanti, peace. Peace is helpful during decision fatigue. Like, okay, could you just stop my brain for a few minutes and give me some peace so I can think more clearly. But more importantly, tying this all back to the receiving, because all of this for a length of time may be more than you have time for to think about in the moment of needing Reiki to come in and activate. It's where Reiki on the fly comes in, and the receiving, because sometimes the hard part of all of it is sorting through it all. Like, I don't even know how to sort through the quantities of decisions. What's first? What's next? What has to happen now? And often you may be in the position of you are making the decisions for others around you. And if you are, I'm going to say moms, I know dads do this too, but moms in a family, lots of decision making for all the kids, everything daily. And again, I don't mean it to be only moms. Of course, we know dads do that too, but it is a pretty big, as a mom, when I had kids at home, when I heard the term decision fatigue, that's when it took me back to, oh, that's what that was. Like, oh, now I understand, the quantities of decisions that were my job to make. And then going to the final Karuna symbol, Kriya. Kriya is absolutely the best symbol for priorities. It can literally help you with your to-do list. And so for me, it's the one that sometimes it's going to show me to just stand still. Let it all be. Sometimes it'll show me the next step to take. Like, here's the light, just take one step. And other times it'll show me the whole path ahead of me. To me, it's also very much connected to the eagle and mouse vision journey that we do here, where you're seeing your path from above and you're seeing it from the immediate. So that's Reiki's role in managing decision fatigue, tying it together with last month, where we spent 4 weeks talking about listening, and the final week really learning how to listen to yourself. Because you can place all of Reiki together in the I receive Reiki, and what it's going to do is take you into self so you can hear you. And that outside noise, as I think of Hearth, is really helping with the outside noise. Kind of puts you in a field, that Reiki filter that I think of when outside noise is there. And I also see in the chat how much people are asking for healing for family and friends and different life circumstances, empowerment for circumstances and situations. And so I really want to also, bring this to the awareness, particularly if you are in the position of really assisting the people that are going through things, that decision fatigue and compassion fatigue can be a very real part of it. So that's why Reiki on the fly can be helpful. Of course, lengths of time, if you have the ability to do it. I find that Reiki at night is really beneficial to just calm things down from the day. Sometimes it takes me through the quantities of decisions that I have to make. And then I'm like, oh, no wonder, no wonder I feel scattered or overwhelmed. And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, I feel so overwhelmed. And then I think, no, I'm not. And so I challenge it. I'll actually challenge my thoughts. Like, no, overwhelmed is way more overwhelming than I am right now. So, I can also use Reiki to help me access my perspectives and higher perspectives. At the same time as not bypassing my perspective and the reality of it, to also allow me to have the feelings that I have. It's one of the things that has been the biggest blessing of both the Tree of Life energy and the Holy Fire energy, is really bringing me into my own humanity, realizing that I, as spiritually connected as I get, I still have human consciousness. I still have emotions. I have feelings. I have reactions. I have mind management that I have to do because my mind can go off in 1,000 directions and thoughts. And so allowing myself to experience my humanity in the mix of it all. I also like to be balanced. I like to be peaceful. And so for me, I'm going to do the things that are helpful to keep me balanced and peaceful, although I don't always feel that way. So that's where the Reiki energy comes in. And one of the areas that I find can be feeling destabilized is some of the decisions that are really big decisions. Sometimes the decisions are very, very much about life in the biggest picture of it. Sometimes the decisions are just mental clutter. And the just sheer quantity of needing to let that clutter go. I know right now, I would have to say my house is probably the most cluttered it's been in a long time. And I feel cluttered in my mind too. Because right now, for me, one of the things that can also contribute to this is all kinds of possibilities. So it's not always about like decision fatigue for hardships. Right now, my mind is in 1,000 directions of possibilities. And they're popping in one after another. And with so many possibilities and opportunities, which ones do I pick? And I also know I'm in a particular cycle of that. It doesn't mean that every day forever I'm going to be in these feelings of possibilities and opportunities and ideas and innovations. And so now what is it? Of course, now I'm thinking as I'm talking out loud, of course, we're in this topic in our next step classes of the messy middle. And also, Danny's shaking her head like, yeah, we are. That's right. And, deciding through all the possibilities, which ones are the ones you're going to follow and which ones are just something you're thinking about. Then what is your timing for all of this? That was something that really came out in the class, was the awareness of how timing has to play into your decision making. Because sometimes your decisions are for today. Sometimes they're for tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. Sometimes your decision making is someday, this is what I'm going to do. Sometimes they're for 5 years from now, that you're looking at things in that way. And that's where, again, Reiki can help you identify your timing. And also, for me, it's helped me when I have been frustrated by the timing that was actually happening. Because, of course, we always want it now and faster. Like, just, I've had the idea, can this just work now? Or for me, I'm in this total rabbit hole with studying different things about technology and all the opportunities that are there and really loving it. And I'm also crocheting, and I'm like I say, they're just popping in one thing after another. So possibilities can also bring, like, what's my timing here? Which ones are just dreams and I'm just going to enjoy the possibility and the thought? And then which ones are for today? And how does the decision I make today affect tomorrow's decisions, next week's decisions, 6 months from now, etc.? So we're going to go ahead and Robin's going to do the Reiki journey with this. And Robin, I'm going to stop talking in a minute. So if you want to add to anything before you go into the meditation, but also that's going to include the opportunity for any, I think, automatic writing too. So if you want to do any of that as well. So anyway, like I say, just looking inside yourself and inviting Reiki to just come in and bring clarity for you with it all. So, Robin, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Okay, great. Well, a couple of things that we didn't get to say is that we actually have our live Q&A podcast tomorrow. And so if you want to join that, you can come and ask questions or just be a part of the circle. If you're signed up for the list, you do not need to sign up twice. For those of you that are listening later, you will have missed that, but I thought I would let this live group here know. And then also Colleen and myself and Sue Strong are teaching Animal Reiki at the end of the month, Animal Reiki 1 and 2 and Animal Reiki Master. And then we're teaching Human Reiki in August too, or Colleen is. So go and take a look at our schedule for that. There's not much that I want to add, Colleen, but one of the things that I did want to add with this, and you kind of touched on it, is overstimulation as a part of decision fatigue. I know for me, that word was so helpful as a parent, especially. I would say you can find that in parenting a whole lot. I have a 7.5-year-old, and overstimulation still happens. And she is a very vibrant person, which is a great thing. But as a parent, that can sometimes be a little challenging. And so it can create a lot of overstimulation. And that word was so helpful for my husband and I to understand when it happens, to be able to not make it about the other person and just say, I'm very overstimulated. This was what my day or my hour or whatever was like, and I just need a minute. And so as a parent, this comes very often, maybe even daily. And that can create a lot of decision fatigue. As Colleen said earlier, there's, all of the million little decisions that you have to make just for living, let alone all of the million decisions that your kid is asking you to make. Can I have this? Can I have that? can we do this? Can we do that? Questions on questions on questions. And that doesn't seem like, even though I, have to say no a lot to the things that she may think she needs in that moment. As far as, going to the grocery store is what I mean by that. Those are still decisions to be made. But I also wanted to say too that extrapolates further out than just parenting, right? We are continually inundated with stimulation these days. And so the stimulation itself can create us to go into decision fatigue and go into overstimulation. And so I just wanted to mention that word because having that definition, Colleen, just as you talked about the understanding that decision fatigue is a term, and it's like, oh, that's what this is. And having that term, recognizing that term helps, and being able to define it helps so much in recognizing what it is. And like you said, then what do we do about it? And so the same thing with overstimulation for me, and for me as a parent and going into that decision fatigue, but having that term overstimulation again was another one of those terms that was so, so helpful around it all. And I know I can feel overstimulated by the amount of information that we have right now, overstimulated by seeing so many different things in the world, having social media, empathy, all of those things that are that can contribute to our overstimulation as people. If we're sensitive, if we're empathic, I think it's even more exacerbated. And so I just wanted to add that to the conversation, because I can tell you when you're in that place of overstimulation, you can feel your nervous system in that heightened sympathetic space instead of a parasympathetic space. That's another thing that Reiki really helps with is, and that's one of the things that, we have PhDs working on, we have, research around and things like that, sympathetic nervous system, and Reiki can really help that and move you more into that parasympathetic space, into that space. And so, that is also a place that Reiki really helps with. And when you can calm that from the overstimulation, that decision making ability can be a lot easier. Another place where self Reiki can help, another place where a Reiki session from other people can help, and where Reiki on the fly can really help. If you, going back to Colleen's on the fly kind of invocation when we first started this, where we might have been versus where we were after, that too has that physical mechanism to it. If you're able to kind of just tune into that, that's helping that nervous system settle a little bit so that you can think more clearly, so that you can feel more clearly, so that you can bring that stimulation down a little bit and see your path a little bit more clearly. And as parents too, and not to make this whole part about that, but it's just because it's so relevant. And I can tell you, like, going into the grocery store with a kid that wants to go here and 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 all of those things, that is a very overstimulating place for me personally. And that can be overstimulating for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And this is just an example. I'm just using it as an example. Like I said, you can apply this to a lot of different things. That Reiki on the fly, like, okay, just take a breath, bring in some symbols, even if I just say them in my head, even if I might just activate it within me, can help with that so much. And then it also can calm her down, right? Because that's going to entrain my own Schumann resonance. That's going to bring my nervous system into a more calm place. That's going to make me react better to her from a more conscious place rather than a reactive place. And so all of those things, and then I can go into my clarity around the decisions that I need to make, even if they're small, let alone in the big decisions that I need to make. And so that's a really big aspect for me personally, and how overstimulated I can get in a lot of different ways for a lot of different reasons. News right now, politics right now, social media right now, all of these things can really overstimulate me. And so my clarity in my decisions can get skewed if they're related or not. And so sometimes if I can just call in Reiki, turn that off for a minute, call in Reiki, and bring that nervous system into a more settled place, that helps me to see more clearly. And that is such a beautiful thing that Reiki can do for us. And that really helps with the decision fatigue as well. So that's what I wanted to add.